Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is another Warlock Wednesday. This
My favorite
time
day of the
we're
week.
this time we're talking about the Eldritch Invocation, Bewitching Whispers.
Ooh, that sounds super cool. All these Eldritch invocations have pretty baller names.
Yes, and they almost always fail to live up to them.
About half of them fail to live up to them. It's where I think I land with like actual usable invocations is probably about half. This is not one of them. This is very simple line of text. It requires you to be 7th level because it lets you cast a 4th level spell. How exciting! It says you can cast Compulsion once using a Warlock spell slot. You can't do so again until you take a long rest. Compulsion, for those curious, is a 4th level spell that takes an action to cast 30-foot range/area. Creatures of your choice that you can see within the range that can hear you make a whiz save. If they automatically succeed, if they can't be charmed. On a failed save, a target is affected by the spell. You can use a bonus action each of your turns to designate a direction horizontal to you. And then each affected target must use as much of its movement as possible to move that direction. So you can be like, to the left, take it back now, y'all. And they all have to do the cha-cha slide with you. Although the target isn't compelled to move into obviously deadly hazards like fire pits or off ledges or whatever, but it will provoke attacks opportunities, so that's neat. I
But
guess.
I don't get what that means. They're not compelled, but they provoke attacks of opportunity. Doing what?
Whenever they move, because this forces them
But
to
they're
move.
not moving if they're, you know, are those
They
two
won't
different
move.
things?
They will not. It's the line is a target isn't compelled to move into an obviously deadly hazard, such as a fire or a pit, but it
Right.
will provoke attacks opportunities to move in the designated direction. So it won't like run into a spike trap, but it will leave the threat range of a fighter.
Okay, I got it. All right. So I was thinking, all right, it's not going to run into the fire, and then that also had something to do with the attacks of opportunity. No, those two separate things. Okay.
Yes. Notably, this is a almost bard exclusive. Order of Domain and Oath of Glory both get it, so that you get like the thematically fitting options. I think in this game tend to get access to this. I think Warlock is close to thematically fitting. I think like if this was on the Archfey spell list, I'd be like, yeah, it's pretty cool. That makes sense. Compulsion isn't a spell that anyone's written home about to say, wow, this is game breaking, this is busted. Imagine if you could do this twice per long rest. That'd be crazy. And then Bewitching Whispers comes along and lets you have the distinct pleasure of learning a new spell that you can cast once per long rest instead of short rest for an Eldritch Invocation. And it needs you to be 7th level. This is, in fact, no way, shape, or form worth it. There is no reason to ever take this invocation. This invocation is utter and complete trash. This is one of the worst of the worst.
I don't know if no one has ever written home about how cool this is. This feels like one of those spells where that people are going to argue with us about. I don't think it's amazing, but I'm willing to bet that other people do.
I think
Um,
Compulsion, specifically for bards, I think Compulsion is one of the coolest spells in the game. It gives you a cool collaborative moment where you're provoking a bunch of attacks opportunity, which is really valuable because you're basically giving your allies extra attacks, and it can give you some neat situations where you're manipulating movement in a very fun way. I think Compulsion has a very good home in the bard class. I think it would also have a pretty neat home as some kind of warlock tool. It is not a warlock tool whenever it's a once per long rest invocation, simply by merit of you cannot afford to take something that competes with your existing spell slots that is just a once per long rest effect. You need better than that from your warlock invocations, and this does not offer that.
yeah, it's almost like a penalty because you
It's
can only
worse
use
than
it.
learning a spell.
Right. That's yeah, because you get your spells back for short rest normally, right? So if you use this one, that's just one less spell you get back.
Yeah, you don't lose the slot, but you can't
Oh,
cast
that's true.
compulsion
Yeah.
with it. So like
Okay. Well,
if you're a
that's
7th level character, you get one use of your so you go into an encounter already with known spells you want to cast. Already you have things you want to be concentrating on that have long durations. Already you've got your summon spells. You've got your maybe you're upcasting Shadow Blades or something. We just talked about that recently. Maybe you're doing some kind of long duration hex effects. You could be doing the thing that you already want your spell slots to be doing, or you could take an Eldritch Invocation to compete with that. You don't want to be
okay.
there. You can't be there.
Eh, um, that's no. I agree with you. It's not as bad as I thought it was, though.
That's fair. If you thought it was like, yeah, you can cast the spell and it's gone for until you take a long rest, the slot and everything, that would be horrendous. This is horrendous still, but that'd be somehow even worse.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of anything that only gives me something once per long rest. That's I just feel too antsy about, oh, am I gonna blow it now? And
this is really crucial. This isn't even that. This is the opportunity to use a resource you already have access to in a different way once per long rest. If this was a once per long rest, you get a free cast compulsion, at least I'd kind of get it. At least it'd be like, this is a new resource that you get on top of spell casting that kind of expands your spellcasting repertoire a little bit. But it's not that. This lets you use your existing spell slots, which I just said. You already have incredibly competitive spells that you want to be using with one of your precious 2 casts per short rest with. You can't also just take an invocation that jams more competition into the mix. It is horrendous for your build. It'll make you feel like you don't have anything to do ever because you are limited even more so by pack magic. Invocations fundamentally need to empower how you play, and do that by giving you new resources or make resources you frequently use really, really good. So Thirsting Blade makes attack rolls better, or makes the attack action better. Eldritch Invocations for Agonizing Blast and stuff make Eldritch Blast better. Things that you're regularly, routinely using are empowered that way. Or you're getting things like Misty Visions, or you're getting things like Cloak of Flies, or you're getting things like Tome of Levistus that give you new resources on top of the existing resources that you already have. Spell or invocations, and you're gonna hear this exact rant a lot for Warlock Wednesdays because there's like 6 of these. Invocations that just teach you a spell and let you use it once per long rest, nope. They're never it. They're never good enough. You will never be getting a resource out of this. You're getting competition for a resource you already have that is over bloated, and you cannot afford to be there.
Especially not when these other invocations exist. Like, I'm a big fan of things that, well, not all the things, but a lot of the things that will give you at will powers. Like Ascendant Step, even if it's not a huge fan of Levitate, but something else I can do now.
Mm-hmm. One with Shadows lets you just, while you're in dim light or darkness, turn invisible. That seems pretty sweet. It's hard to use, but it's just an at-will thing you can do now. You can just be invisible anytime you're in dim light or darkness. Doesn't that seem pretty baller? You could do that. You could have an at-will new fun toy, or once per long rest, you can take one of your spell slots and let it be a different spell.
Yeah.
No.
All right, I'm with you on this one. Anything else to say?
Yes, almost agnostic of whatever the spell you're getting with the once per long rest. You can spend Warlock spell slots on and casting its spells. Agnostic of what the spell is, it is not worth it. It would need, you would need to be a non-spell. It'd have to be a new feature. It'd have to be some kind of crazy back-breaking new busted effect to justify this. No spell in the game for its spell level is worth this invocation tax.
Yeah, because what level are you getting this?
7th level, which is when you get 4th level spell slots.
Right. Yeah. Nope.
Don't take it. Easy peasy.
Yeah, I don't want compulsion that much.
No, just there aren't necessarily better ways to get it, but if you really want a compulsion, Bard is a very fun time.
All right. I guess that's I forgot what this one was called. Bewitching Whispers. That's another thing. That
sounds so cool, doesn't it?
Even compulsion, the name of the spell, the name of the invocation, I feel like it's more loaded with something sinister than just, hey, all of you move that way. That's not what you bewitchingly whisper to somebody.
Yeah, agreed. I think of all of the invocations, this is along with Armor of Shadows, one of the hugest disconnects between the thematic name of it and what it actually does. Yeah. I don't think you could tell me this is Dissonant Whispers with this same text. If you give you a free cast Dissonant Whispers, I'd be like, that makes sense at least. But no, it's compulsion, which I guess you're bewitchingly whispering into the ears of a large party group and then telling them, ooh, move 40 feet to your left. What? This makes no sense whatsoever. This is so out of left field. It has nothing to do with the thematics of it. It has nothing. It's just a bad invocation with a bad name that tricks people that maybe want to do the thing.
With a great name.
It's a great name.
But a deceptive one.
Yeah, that makes it bad. That makes it hostile. Yeah. It makes it harmful for players that don't know, that are learning the game, that are picking it up and reading these invocations for the first time.
All right. Well, hopefully those people are visiting this channel and learning why they shouldn't take this.
Yeah. I would be interested, commenters down below, maybe you've taken this and you were really pleased with it. I would love to hear those stories. I've never heard them before, and it would be great to see them in the comment section below. Or just be like, yeah, no, I tried them out and it was awful. Or I know people that tried it and it was awful. I'd love to hear people's stories and opinions and thoughts about, not even more so than the Bewitched Whispers, like these styles of invocations. Or maybe you got a better name for this. What would you name this invocation?
I don't know.
You have a name, Bob?
I think in yeah, the little subtitle that'll be in this video is you said cha-cha slide, I said cha-cha slade.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, before you start arguing with us though, this is not a criticism of compulsion. This is a criticism of Bewitching Whispers.
That's a really important point. I have no problem. I think compulsion's a sweet spell. It will never be worth this kind of invocation. The presentation here, the delivery of it is not getting you anywhere close to enough.
Yeah, so when you are taking Sam up on his offer, remember that in the comments.
I like compulsion.
Yeah.
So does Bob. He likes it enough.
Enough, yeah. I don't hate it. All right, well, you got
1
a
out of
rating?
5 garbage.
1 out of 5. All right, yeah, me too. All right, that was Bewitching Whispers. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.